Well, hello and good morning, my conscious cruisers. We are back in the wings here for another episode of the Conscious Cruiser podcast. Aside me, I have my wonderful co-host, Chet from Sea Leg Journeys, Chet and Robin from Sea Leg Journeys, and Alisa from Alisa's Adventures in Cruising. And today we are going to talk about I guess a controversial topic, maybe for some, but traveling to your home port and exactly how you do that. So we'll be back after this.
Welcome into the Conscious Cruiser podcast, the know before you go approach to cruising and travel. The smartest cruiser is the Conscious Cruiser. And your conscious casters, Alisa, Chet, and Scott.
Yes, that's right. The Conscious Cruiser podcast. And for those that have stumbled in here for the very first time or are listening on Spotify for the very first time, you are listening to the number one podcast, the best podcast on YouTube in 2025 for the Meet and I Awards. Because of all of you, we are now an award-winning podcast. And Meet and I put on an amazing award ceremony every single year for YouTube creators and podcast creators just like ourselves. So they also actually just put out a new book called Simple Sips. So please go over and check them out. Meet and I on YouTube. They are a wonderful and amazing couple, and they deserve all the support in the world.
They do. They really do.
They really do. So how are my conscious cruisers? We haven't seen each other and we haven't talked in quite a long time. How are you guys?
Doing good. Happy to see you guys and, happy to talk about our favorite topic.
That's right.
All things cruising. That's us.
All things
That's
cruising.
right.
The traveling, eventually going to be the traveling cruising podcast. You guys are going to know us all across fleets, all different companies, cruise companies are going to invite us on the ships, and you're going to hear Chet, Alisa, and myself. We got to talk these dreams into, existence.
That's right. Speak it into existence.
Traveling podcast in the world. Okay, so speaking about traveling, let's talk about traveling to your home port. Now, I know there are a bunch of different ways that you can travel to a home port. Now, okay, maybe not Chet and Alisa, but I need all of my cruisers that don't live in Florida to come over here. Okay, don't have to come to where I'm at, but come over here with me, okay? Because there's going to be people that live in Florida, and there's going to be people that don't live in Florida or don't live close to a home port. So for my first question to my conscious casters and everybody in the chat too as well, how do you typically travel to your home port? Do you fly? Do you drive? Do you walk? Do you take a bus? How do you typically travel to your home port? Alisa, we'll start with you. Ladies.
That's funny because I was at the airport last week. I am a Florida cruiser. I live in Florida. My closest my home port would be Port Canaveral, but I happened to be at Orlando International Airport last week, and I was thinking, you know what? I should come back out here and do a transportation style, video of how people get from the airport over to Port Canaveral, because we have a couple of options. But I typically drive or have family member drop me off at the old cruise terminal. I suppose I could do an Uber or arrange some other private transportation company, but I usually am having someone drop me off.
Okay.
It's a short answer.
Which is nice. My buddy's coming to get me.
Yeah.
How about you, Chet?
Well, obviously living in Florida, I mean, look at the home ports we've got here. I mean, we've got Tampa, we've got Port Everglades and Fort Lauderdale, we got Port Canaveral, we got Miami, we got Jacksonville, we got West Palm. I mean, which one's your home port? You can drive to any of them, so I guess all of them, right? But it's hard to pick a favorite. Usually Port Canaveral is where I would try to pick first, maybe, but we are going to drive to all of them. If we got to
Yes.
go to any of those ports, we're in driving distance away for the day. That's where we're going to go. Maybe hitchhike. I don't know. Not going to call an Uber. Too far. There
Too
actually
far.
is a bus here that probably could take us to some of those ports, but ain't there yet. You know what I'm saying? But we tried looking at the helicopters. It just cost too much. So we're just going to keep on driving. Keep on driving to the port. That's the way we go. But sometimes we go out of town to ports that ain't our home ports, and then we got to fly. We're flying into your home port out there in LA, right, or up there in Vancouver if you live in Washington State.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
sometimes we're like Scott. We got to fly to somebody else's home port. That's okay. But down here in Florida, we got just so many to choose from, and we can drive to any of them. I'm
Yep.
loving it. This is why you want to live in Florida.
I mean, this is going to be hard to follow up on, folks. This is going to be hard to follow up on. I plot myself dead in the middle of the desert. Okay, so this one's going to be hard.
You
But
did.
I need all my people that don't live in Florida
That's all
to
right.
stay close.
Exactly. People
okay?
are coming from all over. So
Stay close, not too close. It's like 107. Okay, so I don't need to stay a little farther away, but come close. Okay, so for myself, I have to fly no matter where I go. Now, there is a few exceptions and one exception which I have not explored yet, but TJ's Destinations, if you're out there, my West Coast cruisers, I haven't
yes.
been able to actually, TJ's Destinations, haven't been able to actually cruise on the West Coast yet. But that is a port, since I live in Arizona, a port that I can actually drive to. I have not used that or driven to a port yet. I've flown to all of my ports, whether it be New Orleans, one of my favorites, whether it's any port in Florida. Now, I will say one of my favorite things to do in Florida is not fly directly into the home port in Florida. You say, that's crazy. Well, it's not too crazy because I actually typically like to use what they call the Bright Line, which is still
Mhm.
right now while we're talking in existence. The
Yes.
number one privately owned train company in the United States, and it runs intercoastal, outer coastal in Florida there. So I love using that. But for me, I have to fly any time that I go. So typically, for myself, I try to, and I like to look at those Seattle or Texas, something that's pretty close where I can get there in 2 hours and I'm not having to sit through a 4.5 hour flight. Now, if there are people that are going on a cruise to Florida or somewhere where it's a group cruise that I want to go on, yes, I will sit through the 5.5 hour and pay the extra $200. That's fine. But for me, that's always an added and expected cost for myself. So that's something that always comes into how many cruises I can do a year. Because I mean, it's extra either way you look, right? Because then you have to check your bags, you have to pay for Ubers from different airports, you have to pay for the airport ticket itself. So it does get kind of expensive
Mhm.
when you're flying and not driving or having your buddy drop you off at the home port or your siblings or something like that. So jealous of all my Florida livers out there. Maybe one day I'll grow up and I'll retire.
Someday,
Maybe.
someday.
And of course, if you guys are listening out there, please let us know how you guys travel to your home ports too as well. Okay, so talking about extra expenses and shifting just a little bit, what is an extra expense, whether you fly or you drive? What is an extra expense that some cruisers may forget about or they don't think about that is obviously part of traveling and cruising to your home port? Chet, we'll start with you.
Well, traveling to your home port, I think a lot of people with pets oftentimes forget they got to put that pet in a pet hotel, and so they've counted all their costs, they've counted everything up. Oh, I got my travel paid for, got my cruise paid for, got my drink package paid for, got my excursions paid for, got my massage paid for in the spa, and then it's time to go, and they're like, oh no, it's an extra $400 to put my dog in the hotel. And wow,
That's true.
I got to come up with another $400. Ouch,
Yep.
ouch. So I think sometimes we forget that. I almost forget to calculate it myself sometimes. When people say, "Hey, what'd that cruise cost?" I'm like, "Well, you mean just the
Mhm.
cruise, or do you want me to add in the gratuities? And you want me to add in the dog hotel if you got pets, things like that?" So I think a lot of times we forget to count that cost that you're going to have to do. Whether
That's a
it's
good one.
somebody coming by to take care of your dog and all that,
Hmm.
you gotta pay them too, right? Or to put them into the dog hotel.
Correct. That's a good one, Chet. Didn't even
That
think
is
about
good.
that.
That
I
is
don't have
good.
pets, so uh,
But yet you
If you
forget
move
how
to Florida, you'll
expensive the
have one.
pet hotel is,
you do.
or if you use a sitter or a rover
Mhm.
or have somebody come over. That's
Yep.
a good one. That's a good one.
Absolutely. All right, Alisa,
Yeah.
what do you got? What is an extra expense that cruisers often forget when traveling?
I think I have this is something that I have to like stop and think about myself. Either your pre or your post cruise stay. So if you're
Hmm.
going down to Miami a
Mhm.
day or two early, and obviously you got to stay somewhere, you're going to get a hotel there. I know people are always looking for a hotel, but you also have to eat there. If you're there for a
Mhm.
couple days, are you just going to sit in the hotel? You're going to go out and about and try and see something. So the cost of those excursions, for lack of a better word, what are you going to do and how are you going to get around when you are there? So that becomes kind of a couple days expenses before you even board the ship, or if you decide to do that after to kind of extend your vacation, or to work it out with the airlines as far as those rates go, it still costs you. So like Chet is saying, you have to add that into the budget, or be aware that you are going to have to come out of pocket a little bit for something.
Absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely. And I was actually saying this in one of the morning chats the earlier this week. I said, how awesome would it be for one of these big cruise companies, right? And Royal or Carnival or Norwegian, if you steal this, okay, we know that I said it, okay, I want 1% royalty. But imagine how awesome this would be if they did like a cruise and like save bundle where, okay, you got
Hmm.
like a rental car, you got the flight, right, to your home port, and you got the cruise, right? And somehow or another, they got to shaking hands and making a deal on the actual percentages, because that's really what's going to make or break. American Airlines isn't
Yeah.
getting enough versus Royal, and Royal's getting too much, right? But imagine they could actually shake hands and do something for the cruisers that you were like, wow, like I'm only paying $78 for this rental
Yeah.
car. I'm paying, okay, $389 for the flight, but I'm only paying, $106 for the hotel, and it's an actual bundle, because you go and bundle your round trip air flights now. Tell you the truth, start booking them one way, because I've booked in my last two flights, I booked one ways both times, and the one ways were cheaper than
Hmm.
bundling that was supposed to supposedly save you money. It didn't save me money. I saved myself $72 by booking two one ways. Yeah, I did it, Expedia. That's fine. Come after me. Okay. So this, I'm just
The
saying,
savings
for the
police.
cruiser, I think that this would really be like a game changer for the industry, something that the industry has not ever seen before, where like it's an actual bundle and an actual save. And I really think that this could be, you know, game changer for cruisers and for the entire industry, and travel in general, right? Because right now it's at a weird point in the cruise industry, right? There's a lot
Yeah.
of new cruisers peeking their heads up and being like, "Hey, I was scared before, but Lucy and Nancy, they all went on cruises. Maybe I can do it too." So a lot of new cruisers are coming in, right? So this would be such a good time for the cruise industry to step up and do something like this, so they can get more new cruisers, right? So
Mhm.
there's more podcasts like this eventually, when people have hit 50, 60, 70 cruises, and say, "Hey, let's start a YouTube, or let's start a podcast, and talk. And me, Nancy, and Lucy can have the Traveling Girls podcast." Don't steal that, by the way, Nancy.
It's kind of catchy. I kind of like it.
Yeah, that probably
But
true.
I do.
I've really thought about that. I really, in the last week, especially with all the travel talks, there's been a lot of really good
Hmm.
morning shows
Yeah.
at the travel talks. But I really just thought about that, traveling to your home port, and especially with thinking about how I'm going to get to my next home port. I started thinking about all these traveling costs, and I mean, there's
Mhm.
just so many. There's just so many that you
Mhm.
can name. The
Yeah.
dog. Oh my God, food. When
Things
you
have
said food,
definitely changed. Have definitely changed over the years, and they're always looking to sort of innovate, I guess is the best word. But that is something that I agree that they should look into, because one of the real perks of cruising is that everything is included, and we like the one price. Tell us how much it is and give us everything you got. So they've done over the years, the cruise lines have had their fly and cruise programs, but we travel different now, and we travel more often now, and we need that extra roll in of the hotel or the rental car or whatever. So I think that's a great idea.
Absolutely. I mean, hey, look, I know my last travel, I didn't go to a cruise, but hey, I started off, and this is my choice, of course, obviously, but I started off with a $30 old fashioned at the airport. So, I mean, hey, if
Oh,
that's not a kick in the pants and that's like, hey, that's travel,
Ooh.
I mean, and of course, I wanted to feel like I'm on vacation, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I did it, but I'm just saying, like,
I mean,
that could have been a
we
cruise
have
too.
more. We have more questions. Was there a sports code involved? Were there cigars? Did you have a little? I feel like that's very, old gentlemanly of you. Like,
It was a good old
what?
fashioned, though. I will say it was a good old fashioned. But man, so many traveling costs, especially when you said food too. I mean, think about the amount of
Yeah,
food that you spend, right? On the night before, even traveling to, hey, there's a Bucky's. Let's go to Bucky's. I've never been. Well, there you go. You just dropped
Bucky's.
$78, $178, $278 in Bucky's. You could have paid for the dogs for a week,
And you don't even get free parking either.
right? Right.
Right,
And no beaver
right.
nuggets. All right,
Funny.
let's shift, and we are actually going to go to a commercial here. For those who do not know that you can also find the Conscious Cruiser on Spotify, well, check this out because you can.
Ahoy, fellow cruise enthusiasts! Ready to set sail on a sea of knowledge? Have you checked out the Conscious Cruiser podcast on Spotify? Well, what are you waiting for? Every week, our podcast is packed with all your cruising essentials. Whether you're driving to work, driving someone crazy, or driving to your next cruise port, pop on the Conscious Cruiser. We've got the best know-before-you-go cruise and travel tips. It's like having a cruise expert in your pocket. So give us a follow, give us a listen, and let's make your next cruise the best one yet. Don't miss out on the fun. Join the Conscious Cruiser community today. Now, back to the Conscious Casters.
Driving someone crazy. I put that in
Love
there.
that.
Chet, Chet always says that. Whether you're driving to your port or driving someone
Someone
crazy.
crazy.
I'm married. I know what that's like.
Funny.
I love that. I love that. Well, let's talk. Well, actually, you want to know what I kind of alluded to our next question, but I kind of in your opinion question. Do you think that cruise lines should start this kind of like cruise and stay? That's actually the better term for it. Cruise and stay, and partner up with some of these hotels or some of these airlines to save us money.
I mean, I think I will say for myself, I've talked about this before. My very first cruise, and yes, I was a teenager, so I was with my parents, but my very first cruise was on the Big Red Boat, if anybody remembers that. And
Yep.
it was definitely that type of package where you were either here in Florida and going to Disney World for 3 or 4 days, and then getting on the ship to make it a week vacation, or vice versa. You did the ship first in a Disney stay, or you go to Port Canaveral. We went to Space Kennedy Space Center, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it was the bundle. So even though you start off as a shorter cruise, it turns into a week long vacation. And for the benefit of the parents or whoever's paying for it, again, it's all in one package price. And it was very popular, I'd say, at least for a while. I'm not exactly sure why Disney ended that partnership, but because they eventually were creating their own cruise line. So yeah, I think even though some of the cruise lines are marketing these weekend cruises, and they're having big success with getting new cruisers, or just people in general just wanting to see if they like it, or just only want to be on the ship for a short time, I
Yeah.
think there's still room there to turn it into a week vacation, because I think that's what people typically think of. They take off a week of work, if they're working, and they want a week. They want a week
Right.
of fun.
Right.
A week
Uh,
of an escape,
I
you
don't
At
know,
blame
least
him.
a week.
at least a week.
What's 3 days? Ugh, go for
Yeah.
3 days. Ugh,
Yeah.
ugh. What are we on the paradise? Ugh. All right, Chet. How about you? Should they do these little cruise and stays?
Yeah, and I think they kind of got little doorways into that now. Norwegian has a program where a second person flies for free.
I've heard that.
If you're
Yep.
flying into the port, you just pay for the first cruiser, and then the second one gets to fly for free.
Hmm.
NCL has that. Now with Princess, we booked when we did Alaska twice, and we did the Mexican Riviera. They booked everything for us. They booked the flights, they booked the hotel, they booked everything. Did we get a big discount? I really don't know. I know it was not more expensive because I looked into some of it, and the prices were a little bit lower. Is it lower because they booked it or because they packaged it together? I don't know, but they do have that doorway open as well. And
Mhm.
not all cruise lines do. When we were on Virgin, we said, "Hey, if we're going over there, can y'all book flights and hotels?" And they're like, "Nope, we can recommend them, but we don't handle any of that." Whereas
Yeah.
Princess handles all of it,
A little bit.
and
That's nice.
transfers and hotels and planes and everything. NCL gives you that second person flying for free. So some of the cruise lines have doors open to doing just what we're talking about here. I wish they had different packages. I think they should. I would love, like Alisa said, give me the price. And when I'm driving to the port, just add in how much it's going to cost for me to park there. Let
Right.
me
Yeah.
just pay that too. Let me just pay the gratuities. Let me just pay all this stuff and be done with it. I don't want to get on there and then start having to count money again.
Right.
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
I think that's what a lot of people don't like. We really like the idea of all inclusive. And if I'm
Yeah.
going to Alaska, I want to know, put the flight on there, put the hotel on there. Hey, can you do something with there's a restaurant in the hotel and prepay whatever's on the menu? I mean, I would even go
Hmm.
for that. You know
Right.
what
I
I'm
don't want to be dishing out while I'm there and feel like you're
saying?
nickel and dimed even more when you've already paid, a
Because you can drop
exorbitant price tag.
$150 in a restaurant in some
Yeah.
of these places at night, just getting a hamburger and a tuna salad, and it's crazy. So, but when it's all packaged together,
Yeah.
it just seems to hit you a little less hard.
Correct.
And
Hmm.
I know they another good example, something similar to that. When we did the cruise tour in Alaska, you had the option of paying for all the meals on land. So
Oh,
Hmm.
all the meals. It didn't include like lunch, but it included breakfast and supper, which I can skip lunch for that matter,
Right.
right.
and
Right.
all included. So no matter what you wanted for breakfast that morning, you didn't have to look at the price on the menu. You get
Right.
anything you wanted. At supper time, you want the lobster and steak dinner, get that. It's already paid
Yeah.
for, no matter what you want. And I really like that because when I saw the prices on the menu, I about had a stroke. And prepaying it was definitely a way of saving money on that. So
Absolutely.
this right here, in my opinion, yes, they should do it. Offer packages, save the people money, get more people involved in doing it the way we want to do it, which is as close to all inclusive as you can possibly be.
Absolutely, absolutely, and to tell
That's
you the truth, one of the cruise companies that comes to my mind, I mean, maybe not top three right now, but one that definitely has land resorts would be Margaritaville at sea. So Margaritaville,
Mhm.
if you steal this, okay, 2%. But I've often said this, and this is probably the only
Mhm.
time you're ever going to hear me say paradise. But when I did sail on the Margaritaville at Sea Paradise, you go to that Freeport port, which is not really Freeport, but anyway, they use it. Okay, so it's like this little industrial area, and there's like this like pink abandoned building that is there. I said, how awesome would that be to change that into like a Margaritaville, Bahamas
Mm.
Freeport, right? And it's even
Right.
got a slide in the back, like it's a whole abandoned, but you can see the
Yeah.
slide that goes into the ocean. I'm like, change that into a Margaritaville at Freeport, and then just put the people there, and then make like a day pass, and then sell it on the cruise.
Yep.
You know, it's so interesting. We'll have to we need to clock the date. So what is it, June 29th, 2026,
Uh-huh.
and see what the changes are going to be, because for a while there all the concentration was on rebuilding or building more ships,
Mm-hmm.
building up the fleets. And now they're talking about, redoing the private islands or creating
Yeah.
private destinations. So maybe the next wave could be, taking another look at these packages that people are also very, very much interested in.
right? Or maybe even down the road, right? Maybe it's something where they actually more utilize their private islands. I know Celebration Key is
Yep.
actually putting housing units there for the workers, but let's say there was like a temporary housing unit where you went to the private island, cruised to the private island, right? For 3 days, you stayed at the private island for 3 days, and you got back on the cruise ship and then went back home. And it was like an 8-day thing, but you spent 3 days in a casita on, you know,
I can see that being.
celebration. I almost said celebration P. Don't stay there.
Don't stay
Celebration
there.
we or celebration me. Celebration me. Oh my God. If you steal that carnival,
Oh my gosh.
celebration me.
Scott, run to your local copyright office now. I don't know whether there is a copyright office, but
Marketing maverick over here. But yeah, no, I really think a company like Margaritaville should take a shot like that, because they already have the land resorts, especially in Florida. Imagine you just stay at the West Palm Beach Margarita. I don't know if there's one there, but West Palm Beach Margaritaville, and then you got on. Come on, Margaritaville. You're leaving money on the table. All right. Last question. Let's go to the question of the cast. My favorite. You guys are going to see a bumper soon for this. Okay. Question of the cast. Okay. What is the biggest mistake that you have made traveling to a home port before a cruise that you can hopefully help others not make by letting us know?
Oh, I've got a big one here, y'all.
uh-oh.
It's a big one. Not knowing what terminal you're driving to. Yeah, we've done that. We're heading to the port, and we getting closer to the port, and we go, which terminal are we supposed to go to? I don't know. I forgot. And one other time we got going to, well, more than once, a couple of times we've been going to the port, and it says, hey, we're going to Terminal 8. And we get there, and we're like, the ship ain't at Terminal 8. It changed terminals. We got to find out where it is. So, yes, we have videos on that over on Sea Lake Journeys, by the way. What do you do if you don't know where your port is and you're driving into the port and you don't know where your terminal is? And what happens if you got there and your terminal changed? Yeah. Stuff you need to know before you go. Right there. Guys, know what terminal you're going to.
The terminal circle, or the airport circle, as they call it. Whoop, A, B, C, D.
I've done that. Don't laugh. We got driving to the port and drove right through the airport, waving to the people at the airport, getting their luggage out of the taxis, and kept on going back to the cruise port. Oh, yeah. We've done all the stupid stuff.
Just do that
you
whole
go, people.
tour. Yeah, that's
Home
right.
tour.
That's right. Make sure you know what terminal you're actually supposed to go to. Very good. Very good. I would say, especially since I'm in Florida and I'm usually driving to the port. Excuse me. I'm not a last minute packer. I like to pack, have my stuff ready to go, but like really try not to cut it too close. Have your stuff ready to go, and I like to get to the ship early because I feel like I don't feel like we've actually paid for that day on board, so I want to start enjoying the fun on board the ship as soon as I'm able to board. So I like to go early, but if you save too many things for the morning of, like you got to run to Walgreens to pick up your prescription, you wanted to run to Publix to get your bottle of wine, you wanted to do this or that, or throw one more thing into your suitcase, you end up wasting a lot of time that you could have been on the road and being there, and then you're all frazzled. So really make sure you're watching your time, and you give yourself enough time to get there and not be frazzled so you can start having fun.
Great tip. Such a great tip. I think, okay, so I'm gonna give you a good one. It's kind of like a secret in a way, right? And this is like me talking to me, okay? And I don't know if any of you have ever sat in this seat before, but
you want me to tap the camera, Scott?
Please
Come to the front.
Thank you. Okay, before traveling to your home port, okay, make sure you eat something. Okay, there's been so many times when I'm like, you want to know what, I'm good, I'm not going to eat now. And then here I am eating a $30 egg sandwich at the airport when I was like, I couldn't made an egg at home. Okay, just eat, even if it's a banana. Take something, right? Eat something, because when you're sitting and you're anxious to go on the cruise, okay, you got butterflies and you're not hungry, okay, but 45 minutes later into the drive, the Uber or whatever, you're like, that coffee is like, oh, I should have eaten a granola bar or something. Like, I had granola bars in the pantry. Why didn't I just take one? And now you're like, now all you're thinking about is like, what can I get at the airport? Right. And now here you are. You're like, got a granola bar.
You
Got
get a
egg and
granola bar
M&Ms,
at the
I got a
airport.
big sandwich. Yeah. And, $45 later, you're like, hey, I made a $45 mistake. So just eat something, because when you're traveling, okay, you're going to be using extra calories that you're not thinking about. You're going to be walking. You're going to be sweating. You're going to be taking your luggage. There's going to be so many things. So just take an apple, take a few nuts, take something, but don't doing it on an empty stomach.
That's a really good one, Scott. Not even anticipating any possible travel delays that you might encounter along the way, but just folks coming into Florida, especially in the summer. I know it's hot everywhere right now, but if you're not used to the heat, and that adjustment, because you feel it as soon as you step off the plane.
That humidity gets you.
The humidity will get you. If you're not, if you haven't eaten, you're not hydrated, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel it.
100%. And that's another reason why I really like using the Bright Line too, because I do use the premium, and you can get bottles of water, you can get granola bars, you can get apples. Okay. And I'm not shoving a whole bunch of stuff, but I'll take an apple, or I'll take, and put something in and be like, hey, an hour afterwards, after Alisa picks me up or whatever, I got an apple. Okay. You just have to think about these things, because when you're
Don't judge people if you see Scott at the Bright Line station with a big old tote bag full of snacks.
Walking around like Johnny Appleseed.
I got my apple. But you have to think, because when the travel day comes, you're not thinking about anything but the travel, right? So what I'm saying is, I'm trying to be the mind inside your stomach, and I'm trying to say, when you're traveling on travel day, there's a lot of things that happen that you don't think about, but think about breakfast and think about starting the day off with something. So by 12 o'clock, you're not absolutely exhausted. And
Yep.
Yep. Good stuff.
Good stuff. All right. So whether you travel to your home port, or you fly to your home port, or you drive to your home port, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Conscious Cruiser. Every Monday morning at 8:30 a.m. You can find us here on YouTube, which most of you are listening and watching, or you can find us over on Spotify. It also posts at the same time too as well. So we will see you back here next week, Alisa and Chet. It is great to be back again with you guys.
Yes, the gang's all here.
Gang is all here, and yes, the 2025 best podcast. We are here, and we will be back next week. So, thank you guys. We'll see you guys, Conscious Cruisers. We're out.
See you later. I'll see you at the mood check.
Already beat you there.
You're there.
Bye, guys.
Bye.